Check, check. Guys, welcome to the Lyran Connection. I'm your host, Alexander John Tulloch. Guys and gals, we've got awesome contact that has happened this week. Whew! Episode 17, we're here. Episode 16, little hairy, with everything going on with cities getting blown up and threats being made by, we'll go over that. We've discovered who they were, and the Lyrans have answered, and we have all that contact currently. We're going to go over contact tonight. We're going to go over Dr. Sala and the private information, that the latest, greatest that was revealed, and we'll go over some Q&A and anything that you guys want to talk about. All the new people out there, just want to say welcome. A little bit real quick, I always briefly go over about myself. I've been receiving contact since 2013. Julia's uncle started the SETI program. He was also the team lead under Oppenheimer for the Manhattan Project under Operation Paperclip. So I've been receiving contact since 2013 from the Lyrans, and I'm up to 32 races that we've have under that we just been recording down all the documentation in chronological order as they happen. In 4 episodes, we've had contact while on the show, so I know that they're listening and watching, and they're watching what I say. So, without further ado, we'll go into contact in just a moment, but I'll just go ahead and say hi to everybody on here. Let's see who's on. VJ, you're awesome. Thanks for being here. Melanie, Cheryl, Angelica, Lore, Tara, Jan, what's going on? Crystal, what's going on? Svaka, hey, what's going on? Doug, what's going on? Everybody, what's going on? This is what's going on. We're going to go over and get to the bottom of contact. So remember, June 22nd and to July 22nd, there was a gap, and then we started getting contact, right? It looks like because of Law 18, when I broke that law by sharing that image, they were able to identify that city. And insectoid and dark forces under Ningizida took out the city. If you looked at episode 16, they literally obliterated the city. The last time we had contact from the Lyrans was on the same day that we received contact from the dark side, and that was literally, and I'll show you that was on August 12th when we received from the Lyrans an image above us. If you notice right here's the Great Lakes. Down here is North Carolina, and it stretches back into the northwest. So you're looking from the southeast to the northwest. The Lyrans were here protecting, but at the same time we received from these guys, they were on the move. We couldn't identify if they were of the Lyran or what race, but they were definitely on the move. They said they were far from this world, and then they struck, and the city that we've talked about was obliterated, and that's the aftermath of the city. It was obliterated, and that was on August 18th. Okay, so we get through August 18th. Sitting here, waiting, what's going on, right? August 26th. Binary communication comes in. And then I was able to decode that binary communications. And then we received a second message. And the second message was actually, it came in like this. I posted it on the Lyran Connection. If anyone can actually decode this, that would be great and helpful, because we could not crack it. With the first, we were able to take the binary communication, put it into a base 64 converter. The base 64 converter then put it into Latin, and then Latin into English, and we were able to get the first part of the message. We were not able to crack the second code. Nobody, not even myself, was able to. So I asked the Lyrans at the time, please resend in Latin. Thank you. I do not understand this. Please resend in Latin. At the time, we still didn't even know if it was the Lyrans themselves. Holly, what's going on? Lorraine, your poor hand. Yeah. So they say my poor hand is because of last night. So not last night, but after midnight of yesterday, up until last night, I received all this contact. So then today I had to scribe all this into the manuscript and decode and put everything in, so we're on the show that I can go over everything with you. The images, we'll go over that. I'll describe them to you. They're being sent. They're being processed, and I just got confirmation that they're actually being sent. They've already been shipped, so that's good news. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. Let's go back into it, and we'll jump right into contact. So I said, please resend in Latin. Thank you. I do not understand this. Please resend in Latin, because the code we could not crack. At that point, I received an image, and I'm going to describe the image to you. And as we go along, you'll understand. The image was, picture a very clean, almost a medical look to it, where it was white and there was grate on the ground leading towards the front of all these computer terminals in a U-shaped, kind of curving this way. And above it, you could actually look into space and see a lot of activity. It looks like ships. It looks like a star somewhere. But you were definitely looking within a ship outward. And that's what I received. And then a message. And this was at 6:20 p.m. So what they did is, the Lyrans, we come to find out it is the Lyrans, because I requested everything to be resent in Latin, it was, and the request was honored, and they sent it to me. And it's in Latin. I won't read the Latin portion of it, and I did all this writing today, but it was into the English part of it. And it goes as follows. In a third group of terroristic, degrading Ningizida, a lying gate. Now, lying gate, we were just in the lying gate where we were aligned with the Sirius star system. And if you're in New Age or anything, if you're current and present in the knowledge, you would know that we were in the lying gate. So, in a third group of terroristic, degrading Ningizida, a lying gate, Platea, further momentum. The destruction of the planet after the last complaining for the targeted work on the earths in the sacred, in the vicinity of the city that was destroyed. The prince of the kings will not be able to be trusted, utterly enthralled in believing in you, faith in a space where there is space where there is. Hold on, I'll have to find it right here. No continuous deregulated destruction pets currently live. By means of the emission of the wave coded to the enemy is as messengers of God, does not have Zela, journey with the star Orion and radiation. Allowance apparatus has been given a zone of peace, ritualistic conferences outside the confining further notice. So what does all that mean? They're identifying that there was an attack. There was an attack on the city. That one of the prince of the kings was not to be trusted. It was like a double cross. The city was then annihilated. Is that the word? And with the faith of us, because at the end of the last transmission, I asked them to find those responsible for the destruction of the city and to intercept them. So I asked, my question was, so am I trusted? Because at the time, I'm asking the question because I don't know. So am I to be trusted or am I not to be trusted? Can you tell me more about this message, please? Thank you. What am I looking at in this image? Can I share this image? And they responded at 11 p.m. last night. This bridge was the border of the Soltraxi. So what I was describing before with that long ramp and the computer terminals and above it, the space and the different ships out there, and the star. They said this bridge was the border of the Soltraxi, and we know the Soltraxi, is the flagship of the Lyran Command. There's the Soltraxi, and there's the Soltraxi Soarer, which means sister, and there are fleets of ships. So this bridge was the border of the Soltraxi, the eyes of the comb of the bosom, lest she look. The battle for freedom dispute is dealt with in the future. So they're saying it has been resolved, and for the future, everything has been taken care of. I asked, are you all safe? Who was the aggressor? Because at this point, remember, when we were getting contact from the last episode, and it showed that image of them traveling, we did not know at that point who, they would not identify themselves. Who was the ones who took out the city? Will sharing of the image break Law 18? And so I asked that question. And they responded as end. End. Okay, end. End? Why did you write the word end? I asked. And at 11:18 last night, it came in as Latin. They said, endowed with the help of the high kings of my brother's future, is a violent threat thou wilt not surpass our own. So endowed with the help of the high kings. So that means that we were helped by the high kings of my brother's future, is a violent threat that will not surpass our own. So I asked, who made this violent threat? Who does surpass our own mean? And they responded at 11:30 p.m. And it says it pretty clear here. There is no sharing of training images. So the images that I receive are really supposed to be for me, my eyes only, as the prince. And there are training images. That's the first time I've ever seen training. Lyra, or for maintaining the disorder. The brothers are safe, and they're safe up there. For many of us, our enemies wish me to say, The conflict is power, and in the world around you and our world. So there's conflict going on in our world, obviously. We all know that. If you look at the news or anything, and there's conflict going on Lyra as we speak. A huge desire to be one of the world internet connection, safe from the ends of the Legion. So they have also an internet-like type connection, and that's how they're able to connect. Safe from the ends of the Legion are the dark side. However, for when you were the kingdoms of the operations of the insectoid, Ningizida overlords are closely related. So right then and there, they're telling us the insectoids, along with Ningizida, under the reptilians, the insectoids, who are usually a third party, were the ones that actually, when I by accidentally showed the image of the city, they were able to go at that point 14,000 light years to Platea and then destroy it. So I am in a little bit of trouble for that. So I asked, this is why the internet is dangerous. So, well, I said that. How do you all communicate normally? Is there any special training you can give me? Thank you for your quick response. They responded at 11:39 p.m. Always, there is a way through the third eye. We have fully coded a technology world. So they're saying through the third eye, which is here, you can communicate, not using technology, and they have fully coded a technology world, which means that they have the ability not to use this, but to also use their technology that hasn't been corrupted yet. I said, can you talk to me through my third eye? Can I hear you in my head? Can you test this with me? Can you name all the races that make contact with this world? Thank you. Now remember, these windows open and close. I don't know when this communication will end. Usually after the 11th hour, if the window will shut, and then you might not have communications. It could be a day, a week, a month. So anything I could think of at the present moment, at the time, I will ask it, because what's the worst they can say is, just like in previous messages, they could say no. But if you don't ask it, at least I tried. So at 11:50 they responded, and this is where I got into a little bit of trouble. What is it that to you not care that the top military command and the expressed by COS from the blood of whore by no will not tire of? So what they're saying there, because I'm used to the language a lot, they're basically saying, what is it that you don't understand, that sharing of the image is breaking law 18, and no matter how many times you try to ask, it's still going to be no, because this is these are training images for your eyes only, because of your status as a royal prince, that anyone else, that it can cause grave effects, such as the colonies of Cremona, which were destroyed, or even the latest, the city. So I kind of got a little tongue lashing on that. I said, what is COS? Because I don't know what COS actually is. And are you talking about Earth's top military command or your top military command? But I knew, but I had to ask, because I need to have it on documentation. I said, I understand at 11:58 p.m. I am sorry about asking about training images. And then at 12:03, so they went past the 11th hour, they said, he came to create transport to go 10 Platea. So I'll say that again. He came to create a transport to go 10 Platea, and then I received an image. Can't show you the image, but I will describe it. It is the same image as before. It is the hangar of the Soltraxi. We know from previous communications that the Soltraxi is over 180,000 cubic meters in depth. So you see these computer terminals and a long white ramp with white lighting, and you actually see a ship. It's black and it's slick looking with certain lines going around it, but it's oval, and it's kind of like, it kind of looks like it's coming out of the dock or maybe coming into the docking bay of the Soltraxi, the flagship. And what they're saying is he came to create a transport. So that was the transport, and to go 10 Plateas, which means they saved 10 royal individuals from before that city was actually destroyed. Because of the interception, they were able to come and save those and then take them up. And then they took out the insectoid Ningizida forces that actually took out that city. And then they sent the signature code of .. dash .. .. dash .. So that's a new one. The Lyrans have all their code signatures pretty much around that. So it may be a couple double dots here and there, but it's right around there. And that was their ending. So I asked them at 12:05 a.m. last night, who came to create the transport? Because I don't know who they're referring to that came to create that transport. What does 10 Platea mean? Which I found out afterwards. Please give me a list of all races the Lyrans are allied with currently. Thank you. Please give me a list of all enemy races and kingdoms of the Lyrans. Thank you. For the enemies. At 12:12, I asked, what is the average height of a Lyran? So sometimes I just add a couple of questions that are off topic, just to satisfy you guys, to satisfy myself, so I can continue to enrich my records. And at 12:13, the last thing I asked was, are there any star maps you can share with me for learning purposes? Thank you. So, doesn't sound like a lot, but who gets contact on this kind of level? And what it tells us is the Lyrans are back in control. They eliminated the threat after the fact of the city being destroyed. They were able to save 10 royals out of the Holy City. The Holy City was destroyed. The Soltraxi was able to intercept with the fleet and take out the insectoids under the Ningizida command, the royal command of Ningizida. And that is where we're at currently as of last night. So it's a lot to unpack. I wish I could here's what drives me crazy. I wish I could show you the images, because they're so powerful. They're so impactful. You would be, wow. What I'm going to do is, since they're telling me that these are training purposes for me, because I've been told in the past that I'm preparing for my future when I leave in 9.5 years. They said images are not allowed and they're forbidden by Law 18. They didn't say anything about sketches or of these images. So what I'm going to start doing is, if you can look around me, you can almost see an image right there. What I'm going to do is and I'm a pretty good artist, I'm all right. I'm going to sketch the image so that it's not technically an image, and I'll sketch so you have a better idea of what I'm seeing, what I have received, and I'll always have it on record, but at least you'll get a drawing of the image because I feel really bad. And they just told me, they're like, what part don't you understand about not sharing the images? But I think I can get around it by sketching out the image, and so you can actually see it, because this transport is so sleek and black and with grooves on it. Me describing it, I can't even describe it. Or even the docking bay. It's not a dark, dingy docking bay. It's totally lit up. There's almost like a etched flooring where it's white, and with the white computer terminals. It's so amazing, but I can't share the image because of breaking law 18. Anyways, so let me catch up, see where we're at with who and what and who's on here. And Gene's on there. Holly, hey, what's going on? Lauren, my bosses, Crystal says, my bosses are really good at codes, and I will see if they can look at it. Gene says, great job, Gene. Okay. Holly says, hey, figured out finally how to get on. Good job, Holly. Hello. Gene says, great show. Thanks, Gene. Keith says, greetings from Day Job Land. Moon Boots says, OMG, at last I made it. I'm here. Moon Boots, you're awesome. Keith says, Alex is CE5. The ticket for Lyran come without tech. Just curious as to your opinion. So yeah, that's what the Lyrans want me to do. They want me to get away from the technology, and they mentioned it in the contact that the legions, and if you look into any kind of like biblical or any kind of old text, legions are usually a part of the abyss and all that kind of jazz, and the dark, it's basically light and dark forces. You have the Galactic Federation of Light, and you have the Dark Fleet and the Dark Line, and basically can be compromised because AI is archonic. It comes in and it infests the reptilians, who then control the ones who are at the top of the pyramid kind of deal, and who control our planet for thousands of years. So we're getting to a point where the technology is not going to be feasible, and that's where I'm studying with Z. Z is actually going to be doing an interview of myself on the first week of September, and I'll be posting on the Lyran Connection. She's a master shaman, master Reiki, all kinds of things, but that's what I'm supposed to be at, is connecting without technology. So it's a good point. Diana says, gives me a high five or a clap. Lorray, tornado cloud over house. Catch up later, hopefully. Oh my gosh, be safe, Lorray. Go into an interior room, more like a closet area or a basement. Stay safe. Keith says, ouch. A craft. Yeah. And what I'll do is I'll do sketches, and I'll post those sketches, because I can't share the image, but I can share I can pretty much draw exactly what I see. And if the Lyrans, if you're watching, whoever's watching, if that is breaking law 18s, you have to tell me and let me know that I can't do that. Cheryl says, good idea to sketch. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And actually, Commander Doug actually gave me that idea. So I think that. Melanie says, scribe it. Yep. Keith says, is it the Black Knight, perhaps? Now, Black Knight, I believe, is just an observation satellite from ancient times that was left over, and it's orbiting around the planet. And I believe that it has something to do with someone, but I don't know which race or allegiance it is for or whom, so I can't comment on that unless I get contact that actually tells me at that point. Lorraine says, besides Law 18, what other laws do you know? Now, there's Rule 14, and it actually talks about the medical facilities where basically you can live for thousands of years, just like in ancient times, and they'll scan you. But all the other laws and rules, I don't know, and I've asked, and they've actually told me I do know. The Lyrans have actually said, you know the laws. But if I come here and they say the earth wipes you of your memory, maybe I know when I leave, but I don't know here all of them. So when I know, you'll know. Cheryl says, can you ask the Lyrans if they have hybrids helping on Earth in U.S. government? I'll ask for you. I'm considered coded a hybrid, even though I'm a prince from Lyra. I was created 2,000 years before my physical body for this end time, the final battle of kings. There are others. I don't know their status, and I don't know if they're working in the U.S. government. The U.S. government has been involved with many races. And under the Lyrans, it's an umbrella. So there are many, the Elohim, the Galvrics, the Syrians, they're all under the Lyran command. Just like the Andromedans have theirs, and it's there's a lot. There's more races than you realize, but it always comes down to light and dark forces. Damon says, you better get permission and stop pushing the envelope. Well, that's why I didn't share any image. And I'm going to see about doing the sketch. And now the messages I can share, and I was told to share, so I have. And the great news is the Lyrans are back in control, and they've eliminated the enemy once again, but Ningizida keeps bumping around. So let's see. Lauren says, I wonder if they don't like you talking to us. If so, what will happen to this group? Now, the Lyrans have told me over a year ago that I needed to start doing something like this. And on March 20th of 2020, I did create this Lyran connection, and I did start spreading the word. There are just certain things I'm not allowed to actually go over because that is supposed to be for me. Not that I'm special, it's just like the images or training images I just found out. I'm not supposed to be sharing that. Certain information I'm not supposed to be disclosing because the enemy is watching and can infect and inflict on lines. And it's a fluid war that's going on. So let's see. I wonder if they don't like you talking to us. Yep. Damon says 2018 VP1 is the asteroid. Now, are you referring to the asteroid for they're talking about the day before the election? Because it's only 6.5 feet wide, and I believe that's just a distraction. Now, there will come a time where it will rain on the Earth like it's never been in recorded history. But that's not at this time currently. But that, at a 6.5 foot wide asteroid, burning up mostly into the atmosphere, there are bigger things that have happened, so it seems a little bit more fear pushing. Cheryl says, any idea when we will have full disclosure? And that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to go into Dr. Sala and what he told me. And because the community has split, because of a full disclosure movement and a partial disclosure movement, and there is definitely control on either side. There's one side that is funded, like to the Stars Academy and Dr. Greer and many others who get their funds or are supported through the Pentagon or the CIA and the Rockefellers or whoever that want a controlled partial disclosure. So their books, they're still good. The material is good, but they're not giving you everything. It's a controlled disclosure. Whereas a full open disclosure will then tell you, like with Dr. Sala and say Wilcock and Corey Good and many others, myself, you're going to hear about the Galactic Federation of Light. You're going to hear about the wars and how the Nazis got off the world and went to Antarctica and the secret technologies. You're going to hear about, stuff that's been going on out. What partial disclosure wants to tell you is that basically Roswell was just a bunch of us from the future that crashed and kind of like nip tuck it and it's contained. And they're acknowledging it. Craft's off world, not from here, definitely from the future. But they're giving you this so they can go ahead and then control it still. Whereas an open disclosure talks about the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of races that have made contact, all the different programs that have been going on, from the secret space program from the 60s all the way to the colonizations of different planets and moons in our solar system, to all the races that have been interacting, to a galactic slave trade that's been going on, hosted by the reptilians and other groups and people who run our world. So yeah, it's a big difference between partial disclosure and full disclosure. So now, Moon Boots, in relation with the creation of your body, I wonder how they encapsulated your soul to be put in your body, like the Altered Carbon series. Yeah, so like I've always said, this is your spacesuit on this planet. That's why we look the way we look. We consume and eat things that have vitamins and minerals from the earth and things in surrounding. Your soul, which is pretty much fourth, fifth dimensional, is in this third dimensional body, physical, tangible. When this body dies, your soul leaves that, but this is your spacesuit for this planet, just like you wear a spacesuit in space, or why other beings look the way they do and act based upon the planet and composition, makeup of where they come from. So these are all that's what it is. It's so at the time this were human, but that's a whole long thing. So yes, Damon, yeah. Keith, my belief, what we in the chain of command, as it were, should be doing is helping to snap others out of low vibration and spreading help for the fellow man. Yeah, we need to raise our vibrational aspect. Lower vibrational. Fear is fed. Fear, loosh, all that is fed off of by dark, lower vibrational forces. The higher you raise your vibrational, be service to others instead of service to self, love, all of the heart and mind and soul and body. These are the things that separate from the inner lower vibrational dark, so dark to light. So more self service to others and helping and having a good do the right thing, be a good person, stay mindful, be in the now. Those are all good ways to go. Joseph's watching. Hey Joseph, what's going on, brother? Cheryl says, I never trusted Greer. Yeah, Greer, I mean, he's got a lot of good information. I've read all his stuff. I've seen all his stuff. But, I mean, I don't want to badmouth him. It is what it is. It's all about a partial disclosure, control, just like to the Stars Academy. He used to be an advisor for President Clinton and many other presidents. He has CE5, and he's it's a very controlled this is what it is. There's going to be a false flag alien invasion kind of. It's control. It's to control, not to disclose everything that's out there. If he ever wants to come on and have a debate and have a talk with me, sure, no problem. But I know all his work, all his stuff, and who funded by the Rockefellers. I'm sorry, but so is some of these others, and it's a partial disclosed movement. Otherwise, you'd be pushing for full disclosure of all the items on the table. You would talk about all of it. You wouldn't just be talking about making a little bit limited contact and having sightings and basically Project Blue Beam and you would be coming outside the box, especially with the experience and the know-how that you've had for all these years. I'm not trying to dog him. Like I said, I've read all his work. He's truthful in most of the stuff is what he's saying, but he's not giving you everything. He's giving you what, and then it becomes a movement, and he wants to, and it's pay for play and all this other stuff. So Crystal says, I wonder if the government is being forced to start disclosure, releasing the UFO videos and admitting to vehicles not on this earth is huge for them. Yeah, so that's part of that partial disclosure movement. It's part of like, hey, here it is. Here's a little bit. But then it's controlled and locked down. It's not giving you, the Nazis fell but 2 years prior they went to Antarctica and Argentina and they were working with the reptilians and they flew over in 1953 over the White House to kind of show and they beat back Admiral Byrd and his fleet. And I'm talking about the LOC and the Lunar Operations Command and the corporate in space. They're not telling you all this stuff. They're only going to tell you some craft. It's real. It's not of this earth. It's from the future, but that's all we're going to tell you. No. There's so much more. So that's what it is. Are you either part of the full disclosure movement or are you part of the partial disclosure movement that's controlled? Keith says, partial disclosure only leads to more space fascism. Freedom relies on the right narrative not being deception, but the dark aspects may be too much for the public. Very tricky. You know what? This whole talk about, it may be too much for the public. Now, I'm not dogging on you for saying that. That's the mentality. That's where we're at. They're always talking about that. That's the scapegoat is, it's just too much for the people, or it's too much. Who makes that decision? What? You put on your pants the same way. You put on your shirt the same way. You eat food. What makes you have the decision to make me not have that information? What makes you get the information? What? Because you have more money than I do? No. We all need to know the truth. If everyone had the truth, then we could move forward. Whether you can accept it or not, that's what the truth is. The truth will set you free. You can't have other people make decisions that decide, I'm a human too. And you know what? That human over there, we're just not going to tell all this stuff. What makes you better than me? How is that equal? How is that fair? How is that anything? It's disgusting. Let's put the cards on the table. Whose side is who? Who's on what? Who's on first base, second base, third base? Who are the Lyrans? Who are the Syrians? Who are from Orion? Who are the reptilians? Who is what? Who's where? Who's been working with who? What technologies? Who are the grays? Who are the tall whites? Give us all the information. Why do you get to decide? Because of what you believe in, and you don't know me. You don't know what I know. So by the Lyran standard, I was sent here. So how is it fair to anybody? everybody should know all the truths, and there should be nothing hidden. Okay? There really shouldn't be, because it's disgusting. It really is. And playing these games, I'm going to give you everything I know. Anything I have or anything I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to share it with you, except the images, because that goes above me, because that is a universal law. And basically I'll be cutting my own throat at that point, because it's beyond earth. It's beyond, there are kingdoms in heaven, there are kingdoms on the earth. So but you know what I'm saying. So Joseph says, you have to sum everything up. I'm late, please. Man, there are many episodes. We're on episode 17. Last episode, there was a city taken out by the insectoids and Ningizida and their forces. The Lyrans caught up to them. They saved 10 royals and took out the insectoids, and part of the division that took out that holy city that's 14,000 light years away in Plataea. And then they were advising me on what things I can share, what things, and giving me just side information, letting me know everything's all right. And basically, in a nutshell, that's what it is, which is a great thing. But there's a fluid war going on, and like the thing I was on with Dr. Sala specifically talks about that fluid war that's going on. So Crystal says, I think it will start a panic if they had to disclose an actual event. I think this is their way of slowly allowing people to adjust. Look what happened with the Phoenix Lights. People went nuts. And Crystal, I agree with you, but I don't agree with you on that. Only in the fact that, how did people really go nuts? Did society break down? Was there, if anything, it brought more attention to the matter, and more people had more wisdom and understanding that there is a larger aspect of the universe than just here. There are trillions and trillions of stars in every galaxy, and there are trillions of galaxies. So I think it's beyond time for us to be caught up, to be able to be a civilized world for nations, for other worlds, and to be able to trade openly, publicly. And I think a lot more, I think we give ourselves less credit than what we deserve, is that a lot of people would be more open and normalized to the idea that these things are going on in an open environment. Like if you walked out and one day it's the golden age and you see ships and they're coming down and there's commerce and there's transportation and people are going, I'm going to the moon and for the week, and I'll be back. And I think it would propel us. And those who would fall apart, there would be people who would be who may have mental health issues or may have a lower grade of understanding, where those we would help and teach and train, whereas the majority, I believe, would already able to. You've already been indoctrinated through film and science fiction, and this whole thing is being brought up to a level where it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It's awesome. It's amazing, but it's really not. It's not a negative thing. It's not on a need-to-know basis level. The reason why it's on a need-to-know basis level is because there are dark forces at play that are doing crazy stuff, and they're stealing people, and there's intergalactic slave trades, and there's a war going on, and it's hidden, and we're right on a battlefield in a sector of the solar system within a quadrant of the Milky Way that's currently battling unseen, and it's coming to the surface. So yeah, on that note, but if we were in one of our peace areas of a quadrant of a galaxy, then it wouldn't be so much of a big deal. So I don't believe it would be a panic. Now, it would be a panic if if one of these dark forces came down and they're like coming out and like, literally attacking and killing people. Doesn't mean all races are bad, but that's the war. It's a big galactic thing going on. Cheryl says, I've heard many say that if we knew all that government hides from us, we wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Yeah, actually, the saying is, if you knew everything that was going on, you would literally not leave your house. And that's more of the aspects of what's going on in the world, in your local government, and really things that are going on, than it is to do with astronomical things, because there are a lot of crazy things. But remember, they feed off of fear. I was fearful in the beginning. I have no fear with this now. They're flying right above me. We've had images and witnesses and all kinds of threats and all kinds of things. Do it. Come and make contact. Come and do what you got to do. What are you gonna do? What's the worst you're gonna do? You gonna kill me? You can't get my soul. You got my body, but you don't got my soul. Damon says, what are the Lyran's theory of God as a supreme being? He's the king of kings over the kings of light, over the houses of kings. And that's as much as I know until I'm trained or told more. And I'm supposed to know all this, but again, when you come back to the earth, something about the earth wipes you. Just like the moon is not our moon. It is a reptilian moon. And that's where the whole reincarnation, not all of the worlds are reincarnated like that. You go off into other learning aspects. This moon is it's a trap. You're here. This is a pivotal battlefield point within the reptilian invasion that has been going on through systems. Just like I've received from contact that a lot of the Orion systems have been desolated planets. They even mentioned radiation from last night. They've expanded and grown. They've had alliances with like the insectoids and many other races, and they work with an AI archonic thing that comes from outside this universe into this universe and infests them. And the ones of the dark side who control our planet for the most part for thousands of years worship the reptilians and those above. And it's been a war. And that's what it's been. But this planet's been on lockdown. There's a liberation coming, and that is why the Galactic Federation of Light, and that's why people are seeing more and more things in the sky. And it's about to be the final battle of kings. That's why it's the end of an age before the new age. 100% Cheryl. Joseph says, hello, brother. What's up, brother? Keith says, also, folks, keep in mind that the government is only telling us something they could have told us 80 years ago. That is correct. It will be more and more a shell game if we trust the government. Laugh out loud at that idea. Yeah. Unless, Keith brings up a really good point. You're in, I hate to say it, there's a breakaway civilization and you're left behind. We don't have that ticket. Everything that you know and with technology is a leftover. That's a hand-me-down. It's old technology. Ben Rich from Skunkworks said when he retired, we now have the ability to take ET home. Everything that you can possibly think of or imagine, we have already done. That's how far they are secretly. But that's not including all the races out there who have their own technologies and different things. Just like the Lyrans can live for 2,000 plus years based upon the med beds that they have. And that's just one race. We're not talking about all the other races. We're not talking about the Syrians, the Palladians, and there's light and dark in everything. So even and right now, currently, they told me last night, the Lyrans have a war going on internally. Just like there's a war internally going on this planet. The whole quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy is engulfed in an internal war. And not between races, between light and dark in each race. There are light and dark in Palladians. There are light and dark in the Lyrans. There's light and dark on this world. There's light and dark everywhere. And that's what it's coming down to. So, any idea when disclosure might come? Have they given a timeline? Well, when you're starting to see a partial disclosure movement coming out on mainstream media, and you see these names that are coming out, and I have all their stuff, and and some of them I've talked to personally. There's a division of it. I mean, it's upon you, because this is about to come to you're living in a time where, say 20 years ago, people listened to like Art Bell, or they listened to Coast, or they got a few books, or they read of Roswell, or you're actually in the most fantastical time of your lives. You will witness many great things that you will blow your mind. And if you have the knowledge, it will set you free to where you will be safe, where you won't have that fear. Remember, the dark side fears off of loosh. If you're off of fear, do not have fear. There are ones here that are here to aid us and protect us. There are ones here that want to kill us and destroy us and rule us and enslave us and keep us enslaved. What we do now determines the future in this timeline. And the timelines have been changed over the last decade multiple times. Cheryl says, Rockefeller equals deep state cabal. You got it. Bing, bing, bing. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Crystal says, trust the government. Is this a comedy thread? Believe it or not, there are white hats and black hats within the government. Black hats want to control partial disclosure. White hats want full disclosure. There are parts of the military aspects that the Air Force was more of black hat and now has come over to be more white hat than they used to be. There's a lot more going on than what you realize, and there are a lot of different disclosed and undisclosed black projects that on a need-to-know basis, and they're each in their own buckets that have been working with off-world stuff. So, Crystal, I have a suggestion for your show. Have you thought about starting a closed group so we can all chat after the show? Have never thought about that, but that sounds like a great idea. So, Crystal, you're the team lead on it. You're going to go ahead and send messages out to me and others to let's get this worked out. And I'm going to let you be the team lead on that. How about that? Crystal, you are in charge of that. Keith, I get you. Well, good. I get you. We're all going to get through this together. Keith, if we had truth, the Galactic Federation Light could make a common goal of preserving Earth. Boom, we have alignment galaxy-wide. That's the thing. The Great Awakening is upon us, and there will be what they're saying is a solar flash, but you're right on the money. It's coming, but we're within a decade of all this stuff coming out. Keith says, tragic coming. Cheryl says, exactly, we're all equal and deserve the truth. Yeah, sure we do. What makes anyone better than anybody? Every person is special and important to everything. If you live and breathe, you're an important person in the universe. If you're a living conscious being, all living conscious beings, lives matter. All living conscious. And that's what it comes down to. VJ says, I think the government has covered up so much and have been doing it for so long that they are afraid of an uprise if the people find out just how far technology really has gone. They are covering their asses now, basically. Well, yeah, you've had Eisenhower warned of the military-industrial complex, and it got out of hand, and there's trillions of dollars. I mean, the day of they were going to expose the trillions of dollars in the budget, and then the 9/11 happened. Everything, there's so much going on this planet. Yeah, you're right. There have been ones that have been deceived. There are ones that have been working with correct races, not correct races, exchanging technology for people. Let's just not even talk about aliens or extraterrestrials or technology. There's internal stuff just on a daily basis globally, that between arms dealing and human trafficking, that's on a crazy, sick, disgusting level. So it just keeps going up the tier. So yeah, you're right. But I think that's why this is the end of an age before the new age. Well, that's what I was told. Cheryl, VJ, exactly. Yep. Keith says they went nuts because they wanted the truth and were mocked. People are ready. People are ready. People are more ready than what you realize. We can actually have this conversation and no one's saying, oh, this is crazy. What are you talking about? Like, it's crazy not to talk about it at this point. Crystal says it will come out that they knew decades after disclosure, just as we know we can now read about false flag attacks they committed back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and 2010s. So this is a common control thing. So yes, you are correct. It's more than you know. Cheryl says, replying to Crystal, also the mainstream media shows you a certain narrative. Did they really go nuts? Yeah, you see the narrative where they get their talking points and then at 7 a.m. they're all saying the same exact thing at the same time. Well, who controls that? Follow the money. Where is it all coming from? Crystal says, I know the people were pissed about the alien stunt they pulled at the press conference. It was a shitty thing for them to do, ridiculing people who know what they saw. Well, yeah, they do that on purpose because all the sciences have been twisted. Everything you know, Contact has stated most of the Earth's works have been polluted. So they want to control because they're really playing with the real stuff and they're keeping you in a bubble. They already have 0 point energy. They stole Tesla's stuff. They already have. You think they're just shooting rockets? They have anti-grav, anti-gravitic. They have bases out. There's just so much stuff you just don't know. And that's what is eventually going to come out. Crystal says, I'm beyond ready for disclosure. That's what I'm saying. Full disclosure all the way. Let's all band together. And then we can unify with the other worlds out there under the same light. And then continue to push into the galaxy. Cheryl says, any idea how long the war has been going on in our quadrant? Millions of years. I know that. Thousands of years on record, but millions of years. Keith says, my experience with people with mental illness includes myself as the truth. Set them free. They have most experience they could not share, and this made their problems worse. Knowledge of truth resonates with our being and provokes enlightenment. It does. Speak the truth. Speak from the heart. Remember, everything you say, everything you think, everything you see, everything you hear is known. And they even told you that in the third eye. Everything is referenced. If they want to tap into you, it's on record. You're a human DVR recorder. And that's why you can be judged in the future. Lauren says, one abduction and seeing 3 ships. They haven't hurt me yet. I asked to see them on my birthday telepathically. I got a great video. Awesome. I can't wait to see some kind of information or video that you got of that. Crystal's watching. Okay. Crystal says, wow, I have not seen one for sure. I have seen possible ships, but can't be certain. The Phoenix Lights made me a believer. Was on every news station here in Canada. Yeah, and imagine the amount of stuff you haven't seen, and it has been out there. So it's coming more and more and more open as we go through, and they're acclimating us to disclosure. Keith says, "What is the term louche, Alex?" It's so louche is like see, you're going into like densities, and like we're in the third density. So louche is like an energy. And you know how you have vibrational, positive and negative, and you have different energies. And you have fear. Fear is a byproduct of an essence, kind of like the dark crystal. There's a lot of programming in media and movies and film. They give you a little truce. So dark entities on lower vibrational scale can feed off of negative, lower vibrational energies. So louche, and these type or fear is another aspect of the spectrum. Everything's a spectrum, and it can be a feed off from things that you are not aware of, where they receive. It's like food for them. Like we eat food in the physical 3D, and we have to have mineral. Certain things can feed, certain things don't feed, certain things do feed, certain things are fed off of just pure light. So louche is that dark, negative, like a satanic kind of, like that kind of realm of a spectrum, just like fear is within that spectrum, and indulgence is in that spectrum. It's all for things that you can't see. Crystal says, woohoo. Cheryl says, Zoom call afterwards. Chat is annoying. Okay, sorry. Cheryl says, God always wins. It's true. Keith, it would be great to educate folks about Serpo, because we were never told about Earth allies. Oh, Serpo. I actually have that. Sorry about that, guys. I have that. The book, it's real. Project Serpo was a project. It's loosely based off of Closer Encounters of the, was it Spielberg did Third or Fourth Kind, whatever. Where the Ebens that they made contact with after Eisenhower, they had an exchange program. They in 12 went to Serpo, and some of the exchange from Serpo, the Ebens stayed here. A couple of them died. One of them lived. A lot of them died over in Serpo. Some of them came back. Some of them decided to stay there. But it was an exchange program. It was through the Air Force. It was the whole thing. And there's documents. So yeah, that's just one planet, one race, one. And I have an Eben that I've had contact with, who actually have given me, and I've shared that on earlier episodes on the Lyran Connection. So I've had contact with an Eben, and he was a good guy, and he died. Diana says, please tell me a little bit more about reincarnation and the moon. All right, so our moon is not our moon. Our moon has been here for a long time, but that moon is basically an ancient relic station from reptilian forces from long ago. And basically it's an entrapment of your soul to be reincarnated and not to move on from this planet to the next or to the kingdom, because it gets you to go into the light to be refocused and reharvested. Or you could be abducted or taken where you are off-world, as in the human trafficking that goes all the 411, David Pallades, with the national parks. There are some for local earth, human sacrifice, blood, satanic, high-end people who run the show around the planet. And there are those that are trafficked off-world to mine on different planets, moons, asteroids, or used as a food source. Or so that's been going on for a long time. There's a lot of ancient bases that have been demolished on the moon that from eons ago, and there are many multi different races that coexist on the moon, and it's exchanged hands in different bases, like the LOC, Lunar Operations Command, between the Nazis to there's the Navy's been on there. That you name it, there's a lot going on, and it's intertwined. So, yes. So that's a little bit about that. Cheryl Serpo, yeah. So who wrote that? I have it here. Let's see. So I can give you the name of the book, and it's a great book. It is actually. I'm gonna give you the name. Give me a hold up. Remember who it was that actually wrote that one and got the documents. Project Serpo. I read that a few years ago, and then I did some follow-up on the actual information. Now, some things were not legitimate, and that's where disinformation comes in. But like Steven Spielberg wrote the Close Encounters overnight in New York City. The whole script. Yeah, right. But it's loosely... You'll see Hollywood's tied into a lot of this. Give me one sec. I'm trying to find it. Project Serpo. I have a weird way I put my books. I don't do it like your normal library. There's a way I flow with it. And I just haven't been asked about... Oh, here we go. So yeah, that's going to be this one. Secret Journey to Planet Serpo, a true story of interplanetary travel. And it's Kenston, I believe. Yeah, Kasten. Great book. It goes through, documents, articles, who, what. It's pretty good. And then when you go, it's Len Kasten. And when you go outside this book and you actually research, a lot of cross research does match up, which is good. And he also did recently, and this was actually in a trip code for the Dark Fleet, I believe, because like Dr. Michael Salas, the secret Nazi space program, and the battle for the solar system and the reptilian. I highly suggest these books. These are good reads. They're not as detailed as Dr. Michael Salla, but they're way up there, and they're really well done. So, Crystal says, I do automatic writing. It tells me things I have no way of knowing. I had always thought it was spirits, but Tara thinks it may be aliens. Do you know if they communicate in this way? Yeah, prior to me receiving contact, like how I have contact, look at that, in many books of contact. Prior to that, I was receiving, I guess, downloads. I was calling them my epiphanies, where all of a sudden I would get an amazing amount of information of things I wouldn't have known about, and I knew about, and I would start writing them. And that's how that began before contact began in 2012. Damon's watching. Melanie says, food for thought. Joseph says, Alex, have you had any recent contact since the last episode? Yeah, we went through that in the beginning. Basically, the Lyrans took out the insectoids, and they're back in control, and they're in communications currently with me right now. Lauren says, I've got to leave. I'm very happy you received contact, that they are back in control. Peace and be safe to you all. Lauren, be safe and much love. Phyllis says, someone is smoking. Yeah, well, it's not me. Well, once in a while I like to have a cigarette, but yeah, I'm sorry. If it doesn't resonate with you, here's what I'll say. It's a pretty bold statement. And I'm not just picking on, I never met Phyllis before. If you think that being on this planet, you're on a planet, you have to admit you're on a planet and you have your everyday life, your 9 to 5, and you're doing your thing. If you think that is everything out in the universe, in itself, if you actually think about it in a third perspective, looking in on yourself, that's pretty fantastical in itself. Person, they wear clothes, they eat, and they're more intelligent than the surrounding life forms or animals, and they have houses. That almost sounds too big. Just think about it as a third person. And if you think that there's nothing else out of all the trillions of stars, systems, just in this galaxy, and trillions of galaxies that contain trillions of star systems, that we're the only one on a planet at the right place, well, to me, you sound crazy. I don't sound crazy. Anyone who believes that they are that special, they think that they're the only ones that can think and have conscious thoughts and produce or make things out of the entire universe, that's insane. I think, I'm not picking on Phyllis, or I don't know her. It's the first time I've ever seen this person on here. Look in the mirror. Really think about it. Seriously. We have a star which is called the sun, and we have many planets in this system. You really believe in your total mind and heart and body and soul that you're it. You're that special, that you're it, and there's nothing else in the universe. And every galaxy is a pinwheel of trillions of stars that spins around with their own planetary bodies within their systems. That there's nothing else. There's nothing else. And that's crazy talk. Well, I'd say you're on the wrong program. You can live in your false paradigm of 9 to 5 and go to work and eat your McDonald's and watch your TV show and think that's all there is. I think it's more fascinating and amazing that just because there is that much more out there, that's more entertaining than science fiction and movies and any kind of science fiction book you read, or your entertainment or video games. What do you think all this stuff is based off of? It's based off of hidden knowledge and things that are going on out in the universe. So have a little bit more of an open mind and understand, just like, well, I could be very religious, and well, anything outside the earth, guess what? Is extraterrestrial. So if you're a Christian or whatever you believe, it's extraterrestrial. Didn't come from the earth, right? Angels, demons, aliens, other worlds, kingdoms in heaven, kingdoms on the earth. But I'm crazy, right? Because I'm just giving you the truth and leaked documents. Do you really believe these leaders and these governments would actually be investing their time and energies and monetary if all this was bogus? None of this existed. Only us. We only existed. Now, who's really smoking? So that's where I'll leave it with that. Someone is smoking. I love it. Keith says, I think it's a good topic, but to the point out there that the light reptoid forces have been aligned with the good and evil and the evil good. No more black, white thinking. Well, there is 3 divisions. Contact has said that there is of the light forces, the dark forces, and there's the in-between, indifferent. And for a while, the insectoids were the indifferent, but they have aligned themselves with the reptilians and others, and then Gizida. There's supposed to be 2 moons tonight. Don't know about that. Moonboot says, and the reincarnation machine has to be turned off soon. Yeah, it's what it is. It's a base. Cheryl says, so the rumors of the elite feeding off children is real? That's yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to say, but that I don't want to get like knocked off the air and stuff, but all that stuff there, yeah, adrenochrome, human sacrifice, it's been going on in ancient times. You name the religion, you name the place, you name all that stuff is nothing new under the sun. This is, yes, so everything's a show, everything's in like, but I'm just smoking here, just making this up, this is nothing to see here, just move along. So I don't know. Keith says Lancaster, yes, correct. Crystal says look into adrenochrome shelf, it's downright frightening. Yes, it is, it's disgusting, and that's what we're dealing with. Phyllis says because Hollywood is real, right? Well, Hollywood, take the word holly, like a holly tree of the wood. It's druidism, magic, and dark. I mean, there's light and dark, and it's all, man, there's a lot. There's just so much people just don't even know. Cheryl says, Crystal Timmings I have. Cheryl says, it's just so evil that I don't want to believe it, but my heart says it's real. Yeah, it's real. Just like there are think tanks that come up with every contingency plan on the planet to create things or do things. Everything that you could possibly think of has been done or created up until a certain level, and there's been help off-world. Holly says, I just noticed that the thought was a UFO. It would be interesting to see if that they're on their way to you. It was silver and glowing, and the stationary that moved to a different height. So that is why do not think a plane that disappeared I was driving and tried to get a pic was. You're going to see more and more of this as the months go by. You're going to see more and more stuff where it's become normalized in the sky, so to speak. Moonboot says, the book Voyager 2 that you showed last episode, I got it. It's an amazing book. Moonboots, read it. I would love for you to share your ideas on it because, yeah, see? I got good books. I'm telling you. Crystal says, me too. I refuse to believe it when I first heard, but after looking into it, it's hard to turn a blind eye. Yeah, it's easy to go like, none of this is going on. I'm a normal person. I'm just doing my thing, and I make dinner, and I have a pet, or I have a kid, or you do your thing. No, there is nefarious things going on out there. It's been going on for a very long time. Holly says, hard though. Cheryl says, it's me. I love it. That's awesome. Cheryl says, Alex, please don't feel like you have to defend yourself. I'm not trying to defend myself. It's just like, it just surprises me as quick as someone can possibly like attack. It's like the opposite of just being open to the infinity. It's infinity out there. I mean, you're mathematically improbable of anything that you say is do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a finite amount of things here on the earth, and then outside of the earth there's a infinite amount of possibilities. So it's like when someone says something, or you're smoking, that's the easy way out. That's the person that doesn't want to do the homework, that doesn't want to know, that doesn't want to look at the declassified documents, that doesn't want to look at the disclosure, doesn't want to look at the trends or the big picture. It's the easy way to say, you know what, I wash my hands, it's all bullshit, I don't care, I'm out. Well, then it's your loss, because there's a big thing going on out there, and it's amazing if you can wrap your mind around it a little bit to be a part of that. It's truly amazing. It's great. If you really don't believe that there are ancient structures on other worlds or systems, and that this is it. This is it. I'm that boggles my mind. I can't understand it. That's how brainwashed and TV programmed you are. You're programmed. Keith says, if we're getting misinfo trolls, we must be doing something right. Oh yeah, that's how it works. It's all good. And you know what's amazing is I only get them once a month. It's not that bad. So we're growing. Unlike others, I don't go and pay for advertisement and pay for so everything's organic. So you're getting real, and we're slowly, steady growing. But it's those who resonate will resonate and stick. And I'm not force feeding anything. And once in a while I'll send out there, hey, if you want to check, if I see something interesting, hey, you want to check out the show, this and that. This is what I receive, and I've been receiving since 2013. But people are going to have their comments. They don't want to do their homework. They don't want to look at they don't want to look at the actual data or the facts or the witnesses or do their due diligence. So it's easy just to say, it's all fake. You're crazy. You're smoking. Okay, bye. Because I can't help you. You just don't want to know. Truly, if someone doesn't believe, why are they even on this channel? If they want to learn more, and at least they have respect. Yeah, no, it's cool, man. It's a good point, Crystal. My point is, I'm not trying to convert. This isn't a cult. It's the truth. And those who have eyes and ears to see and hear will listen and see. And those who don't are lost. And then they'll deal with what they deal with in the future. I'm trying to prepare people for what's coming. So, and the Lyrans wanted me to start sharing this information because we're at the time is at hand. Keith says, it's deliberate. Part of my op is calling them out. Hi, troll. How's the gulag? They don't even bother me. It's just like their logic doesn't even make sense. I mean, if you think about it mathematically, it just doesn't make sense. Crystal, also, if you haven't looked into Bohemian Grove and the cremation of... Oh, yeah, don't even... There's so many different points and castles and places and hunts that they do around the globe. And that's just terrestrial stuff. So, yeah. VJ replying to Cheryl, sorry to say it, but whatever honor of evil you can imagine has been done. Yeah, and that's true. That's why there's nothing new under the sun. Key says it's not so much the elites feeding off of them, but throwing them to the evil ones for protection and favorable treatment. That is true. And then even then, they will be devoured too. Holly says, I agree. Will be more fear. Holly, they came from fear, cognitive dissonance. Yep. Holly, give patience, stand in truth, cannot change those who are not ready. Cheryl says, it's interesting how many fans you have, but how many actually watch you live tells you all you need to know, right? It's the truth. Keith says, the problem with the trolls is that they are skewering opinions. QAnon does have an agenda. Everything, every side has an agenda because it's a literal duality of light and dark forces going after each other. I'm just sharing. I'm not discrediting anybody else. I can only testify to what the Lyrans tell me, the Syrians, and many other races There are many other of those out there who may see this or watch this that they receive contact from, like Taygeta or and many other aspects out there. I'm giving you a slice of a pie of what I receive. Dark and light forces. I get contact from all sides. I can only tell you what I receive and how I get it, and I'm going to continue. I don't do this for profit. I don't make money. I don't have advertisements. I don't have a viewership where you have to pay to get this information. It'd be nice one day to be able to break even, but I mean, I don't do that because I feel it's so important and so historical that everyone should have the right to gain this access of knowledge. And that's why I continue to, the amount of hours and time I put into this for the benefit of everyone else. This will continue to grow. People will find the truths, and the more and more will resonate and learn, and they will continue to get this information. Eventually, I will publish. I'm at the end of the second. I'm literally at the end of the second manuscript. I'm about to start my third. So eventually, maybe I publish, but I definitely want to make it to where it's feasible, to where everyone can have this important information in this part of the galaxy of between Lyra and from East L to Ursa Minor, Cassiopeia, Andromeda, in this whole section. I don't know what's going on in the southern hemisphere and in those quadrants out there. There's a lot. Who knew? There could be somebody in the jungle that's receiving contact and from those races. I can't testify or speak to that. I can only tell you what I've received, and I'm sharing that with you. And I get insulted. But believe me. There's a lot of things I could be doing, but I really do enjoy this. It's just I have a lot of information, and I get to receive a lot of consistent contact. Let's see where are we? Keith says, the problem with the trolls, yep, we talked about that. Keith, also, Alex, don't you think it's interesting that California was on fire and Grow was last weekend? Yeah, there's a lot of DUMBs or underground bases and fires and things that are being manipulated and done on purpose, P waves, S waves, all these different things to either destroy bases or create things to get federal money. And there's a whole, but yeah, it's bigger than what you think. It's not some accidental stuff. Santa Cruz also had a Mount Vernon in my holy city. It was burned too, but people still went to Monte Rio to see Moloch. Yeah, well, that's who a lot of the dark side worships, Moloch and Baal. And Cheryl says, you will one day be honored as a hero. That'd be cool. I mean, I'm not... That's what Contact says too, that one day everyone will know who and all the elites know who I am. So one day, yeah, probably, because it's all true. This is documentation. You one day be... Crystal says, thanks for all the work you do, Alex. We appreciate it. And Melanie says, thank you for sharing. Hey guys, so we went over Contact. Appreciate all you guys. And I know I went off on a tangent. We went over Contact. I'll give you just a brief thing on Dr. Sala before. Let me take a little quick sip. So I had this long 4-hour and then Q&A with Dr. Sala, and I've talked to him many times on the phone. We have email correspondence. I have all his information, his books. Dr. Sala is the guy. He gets all the stuff. And I will give you some information that I did receive from him that I'll share. A lot of it has to do with if you have or have not read any of his 7 books on the secret space program. He was definitely going into like Ben Rich and Dr. Eric Davis on the U.S. Air Force intelligence officer about the Skinwalker Ranch, paranormal phenomenon in advanced propulsion studies, zero-point energy, warp drive, wormholes, antimatter propulsion for the DIA and the U.S. Air Force, talking about transversal wormhole, stargates, and energy, dark energy, extra dimensions. I'm throwing a lot at you. I'm just trying to play catch up so you can understand bullet points. Element 115, the Masovian unstable isotope. It equals the generate enormous energy. Bob Lazar touched on it. Witness fronts for the real deal. So like Bob Lazar, when he was over in like Area 51 and all that stuff, he's witnessing. Those are all like the fronts of what was really going on in other locations. So that it's kind of like the museum look of, and then you have all the actual trillions of dollars in operations going on in other bases. Basically, the element 115 is basically the equivalent of the outer shell of our sun, and for space mining. What other things can I tell you about real quick? So we talked a lot about the partial disclosure and the full disclosure movement. To 2021 Intelligence Authorization Act under Rubio, where Project Galileo equals real. Senate Intelligence Report under Radcliffe, 180 days for report for unidentified aerial phenomena act. Talks about Corey Good, and there's 2 to 6 agendas at play currently with the partial and full disclosure. Salvatore Cesar Pius for a patent for U.S. Navy. High energy EM field generator equals shields equals EMF equals Tesla shield. 3D scalar shell shield. Navy patent filed in 2016. Underwater craft, hybrid craft, advanced technology, triangular hybrid. Von Braun false flag cards from 74 on, and their outgoing outlook on false flag for the control of the narrative. Exo Vaticana book, Chris Putnam and Thomas Horn. I talked about the World War II prototype crafts, the SR 74, 75, 76, 77. So we went into a lot of things about the secret space program leading up, more details than the books on that, how the upcoming race between Russia, China, and America going into space because of all this other stuff that's going on in dominating and satellite control. So we'll go that more in depth on that on a later call, because I know I've been rambling and answering a lot of stuff on here. I'm sorry about that. All right, let me look back here. Someone's got questions. Crystal says, thanks for all you do, Alex. We all appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. Seriously, you guys, with your support and love. And I get so many messages outside of the shows. You guys are awesome, and you have great ideas and talking points, and I'm here for you. Sometimes I'm exhausted, but I am always up and open to have discussions. So, guys, I appreciate you supporting me, which gives me the drive and fuel. Besides, because let me just tell you, when you get contact, it can become just like anything else. You ever had like a good restaurant you ate at, but you ate it 3 or 4 times in a row, you get tired of it. Not that I'm tired of contact, but you get used to it. You get used to anything. It's just human nature. Melanie says, thank you for sharing. Keith says, Mount Hermon as in the Book of Enoch where angels descended. I have that, and I have to go through that more thoroughly. Yeah. Keith says, I got a question. What do you make of DeLong saying he doesn't like UFOs anymore? I don't know. I have all his books. I have all his information. He even signed some stuff for me. I like DeLong. I like the music. The books are well written, but I'm gonna be honest. It's a Pentagon CIA funded project for a partial disclosure movement. They're not doing a full disclosure movement, and they're a part of the. I'm not trying to call anyone out, but I mean it's true. Like, why aren't you just giving all the full open everything? So then it's not like he's. I don't want to say he's my enemy, but he's. Are you deep state? Are you like? Why don't you just tell it all? Why are you got great books with great information, but you're leaving out like huge portions, and it could be. So when you basically have a controlled Pentagon with a puppet head, and he's a likable guy, and I've got, I'm sorry, but it's just not everything. So then you go into the list in my library as over there, not as the full disclosure. I'm not trying to dog you, but give us everything. Or I say full disclosure all the way, all full disclosure, everything, like the Yellow Codex. Give us all the history. Holly says, I have a question later about contact, if maybe we could speak. Yeah, Holly, a lot of you guys text me and message me afterwards. Do that. We'll talk. I agree. He will be honored as a hero. That would be awesome one day. I know a whole world over in Vega honors me like that, but maybe one day on Earth, I don't know. VJ, they are now calling UFOs AP aerial phenomena or UAPs. Yeah, they keep changing it. It's all about controlling the narrative. He says contact can cause real world 3D problems. Laugh aloud, but I managed to normalize. Close call. They want to keep the human supply chain active to space. There, I said it. It's evil. Well, there's a lot of evil, and it is a war. They haven't won yet. We haven't won yet. We're pushing, they're pulling, and we're in a tug of war, and it's about to come to the surface, and that's why I've been sent here to help advise and educate along with others. And he says partial disclosure, that is. Yep, and I'm pushing for full disclosure. I want everyone to know everything. Eventually, we'll come to a point where certain individuals will be taking off world for protection, and there will probably be a purge on the planet, and then it'll be reset like it has been many times before, and buried under the sands of the next ancient civilizations, and they'll discover our language and codes, and it'll be reset for thousands of years before it happens again. But we can beat this. We can do this. Guys, this is awesome. We only had, one troll in the last, 10 episodes? Fantastic show. Thanks for sharing with us. Guys, it's been amazing. Episode 17, we went over contact. Lyrans are back in control. Totally obliterated those insectoids. Ningizit is on the run again. We lost the city, but we gained knowledge and wisdom. We need to stay vigilant in these times, be locked together. Before anything shuts down, we need to continue to communicate and openly become a group. I like that idea. I believe it was Crystal. We need to have a group within a group. We need to be able to lock bonds and continue to push forward. We need to stay mindful, positive, be in the now, and think you can't change what happened a second ago. You can't change what happened 10 minutes ago, but you can change what you do right this second and going forward. And we can keep pushing forward with positive vibrations. We can continue to expose and shed the light on everything, and we can continue to grow and be together. Thank you for being a part of episode 17. I thought it was a special episode because we got some closure on things and we're pushing forward. And guys, I'm an open book. Anything you need, anything you want to talk about, text me privately, text me. All I do is research and receive contact and process that for you guys before I have to go back in 9.5 years. I love you all. Tara, thank you too. Good timing. Need to watch President Trump at RNC. All right, guys. Woo! Have a good night and peace be with you. And let's go ahead and stand tight, march forward, and go towards the light. And we got this. We got this. We got this. Let's do it. Love you all. I'll see you on episode 18. Have a good night.